Okay, hey there. So, you've seen the lecture on object-oriented programming, and I want to just go through some of the ins and outs of using such things. So, let's let's start with the basics. Let's recall, how do arrays work? Right? Here's an array. Cool. I can store that in an array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. So x sub 0 contains 1. Great. X sub 4 contains the last item, 5. X sub 289. Ooh, that's too many. Oh no, it's undefined, right? So this is a collection of information, and it's sort of uniformly and like sort of flatly stored. But objects allow us to do things a little bit more broadly. Pardon my dings. So let's look at an object with a similar. Oh, goodness gracious, get out of here! Unacceptable. So let's look at an object with similar. Do I have a don't disturb? No. Okay. Similar kinds of content, but we'll use a different scheme for accessing it. So if you remember, objects are something like A1, B2, C3, right? There. You can pop it open, and you can see things like what's going on here. That's a lot of stuff you don't necessarily need to know about, general object stuff. But this is an object. It's a basic object. It has at property value 1, A it has 1, B it has 2, 3, C it has 3. So let's access these things, right? Oh, well, to do that, I need to save this somewhere. So var y equals, well, just kind of copy paste. Okay, so y sub A. That contains 1. Cool. What about C? It contains 3. Good. We can also do something familiar, which is y dot A. Y dot C. Y dot B. All right, cool. That should be very familiar, right? Document dot. Oh, here we go. Document is an object, and it has tons of properties and methods, right? It's the same basic structure inside. It's just keywords and stuff. Keywords and stuff. We have our old friendly method, get element by ID. There's nothing on this page, so it'll fail. But that's an object, right? Let's real quick. I want to add. Here's our current script. I'm just using the editor here. I want to just add a paragraph, and I'll have a bunch of text as always. And then I'll have an ID equals pp. Okay. So let's reload the page and go to console. All right. So now if I want to get that object out, document.get element by ID. PP, right? We see our object. Let's store it somewhere. Let's save it. Var x equals, copy paste, baby. Oh, wait, no, that's no good. I copied the whole dang thing. Let's try again. Var x equals, dang, I can't type today. Okay, so x contains that, right? We see all of its properties, right? What's in its inner HTML? Bunch of text. Great. There's nothing left. That is an object. We've seen how to define objects. You could see it. If we just do X, it sort of has its own way of returning the text, but under the hood, it is an object with methods and everything, right? So this is cool. How can we use this to make something a little bit more functional, right? And I think I'd like to extend and extrapolate on the cat example near the end of the lecture. We're going to do it with dogs today. So I'm going to delete this, get rid of that, and we'll go back to a blank template script, right? Document type, HTML, head, and body, and all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to leave nothing in the body. We're just going to work in the script for a while. So what do we want to do here? I want to talk about dogs. Okay, so my dog is, var, of course. Var, my dog. What's my dog? I don't actually have a real dog, but we'll go with what's a dog? Like, what kind of things do we want to know about a dog? Well, my dog's name is Sparky. Well, let's capitalize it. Poor Sparky. You need to have a real name. My dog's breed is, let's say this is a little terrier, right? And my dog's, what else do we want to know? Weight, maybe, is, what's a terrier weigh? Like less than 20, right? Like 18 pounds, maybe at the heaviest. Tough to say, but that's fine. That is my dog. I've named some things that might be relevant information about this object, this animal. Let's reload, see what happens. My dog dot breed. Hey, it's a terrier. Cool. My dog dot weight. Oh, it's 18 pounds. Oh, cool. Okay, so that's good. But as we discussed before a bit, this is just a dog, right? This is just an anonymous object I threw in here. It would be good if we would capture kind of the structures that are meaningful about these animals in this way in a consistent structure, right? So how do we do that? Remember that defining an object is just defining a function, but we do some specific things with it. So function, oh dear, come on now. It's taking a moment. Okay, function, dog. We like to capitalize that because it helps you distinguish between normal functions. These are the functions that can create objects, right? So what do we need to create a dog in this world, right? We need its name, we need its breed, and we need its weight. So name, breed, weight. That works just fine. No, don't do what I did. Do this. Okay. Now, remember, when you're working inside of an object constructor, you call this quite a lot. You say this.name is the name passed in. Now, this is important distinction. This is just name because it's the name of a variable, right? It's an argument that is passed into the function. And that's what this name is referencing. This dot name is a different whole name, right? We can avoid confusion here by saying dog name, but that's not necessarily, useful for us here. It's good to help untangle, but let's leave one of these as the same, and you'll see that they're the way it works, right? So this dot dog breed equals breed from the passing of the function, and then this dot weight equals weight. We'll just leave one of them as a different thing. So, cool. That should work. Let's find out if it works. Now, let's see. Var your dog name. This dog's name is Scott. He's got one of those people names. It's ridiculous. You love it. You love your dog very much. So, breed is... What kind of breed is this dog? We'll say it's a husky mix, right? And then weight, that's going to be somewhere in the maybe 55-ish pounds. Okay. Oops. Oops. I've done something silly. We don't need to give these keywords. In fact, you can't do that. What we're doing here is we're calling the function dog, right? Sorry, that's a little backwards. Clear your mind a bit. This is the straightforward way. So var your dog is a dog named Scott. It's a husky mix, and it's 55 pounds, right? Okay, cool. Let's see if that works. It won't, I'll tell you now, figure out why as we look. So reload. My dog dot breed. It's a terrier. All right, cool. Your dog dot breed. Oops, something's busted. Cannot read breed of undefined. Uh-oh, your dog. Ooh, it's undefined. Why? Well, I called dog as a normal function. Reading this function normally, what does it do? creates a name variable with name in it. It creates a dog breed variable with breed, and then it creates a weight variable with weight, and then it dies. Oops. This is where the new operator comes in, the new keyword. This says, hey, call that function, but then give me whatever object you were constructing while you were working on it. So now what should happen is if I say my dog.breed terrier. Wait. My dog.breed. Yeah, that's fine. Your dog.dog breed, right? Because I changed the way it's structured. But you see, it worked. We actually constructed this animal. So my dog dot its name is Sparky. Your dog dot name is Scott. Cool. So, all right, let's now say, okay, we've created this consistent way of creating these objects. Let's turn my dog into the same kind of consistent way. New dog, Sparky. He's a terrier. Oops, can't type. And he weighed 18 pounds, right? Cool. We will go back to the console, reload, make sure it's all working. My dog. Cool. Your dog. Great. These are objects of type dog because of the function that called them. And then it has their breed, their name, and their weight. Nice. Now, this is still a pretty paltry instance of what a dog could even be considered, right? This is not very doggy. Oh, no. Cancel. Ugh, that keeps happening to me. So, yeah. Let's see. So, we need some other things here, right? Let's give the dog a basic function. To add a function, we do this, right? This dot, what do we want? Feed. Let's feed the dog. But to do that, we assign it the value of a function definition. Okay. So, we need to give it some kind of food. So amount of food, right? So let's see. We want to call feed some amount of food. What is that going to do for the dog? Well, it's going to increase its weight for at least for a moment, right? So this dot weight plus equals the amount fed, right? Okay, let's see. Let's see in action. I've just given all dogs the ability to be fed. So my dog dot feed 20 pounds of food. Okay, nothing has happened externally. But what about my dog? Oh God, my dog now weighs 38 pounds. Oh dear, this is no good for dogs. What about your dog dot feed? We'll give him just 1 pound of food, okay? Have a decent day. Your dog, now we can see the dog's weight, 56 pounds. It was 55 pounds before, right? So, cool. We're seeing functions. I added one function to the dog concept, and now all dogs have that function. That's pretty useful. Let's do some other things. What else can we make this dog do, right? They have certain things that they do on their own. This dot bark, right? That's a new function. We don't need to give it a parameter. We can also, let's see, what do we want to do? I will log to the console dot log. And let's say bark. Cool. Let's just make that happen. So now if I reload, I have my dog defined dot bark. Now, before we put the parens, we're seeing it as a variable. It points to a function. If I just call it with the parens, it's a function. So my dog dot bark, yay, bark. How about your dog dot bark? Great, it barks to the console. Cool. So, all right, that's fine. But actually, that's kind of not very clear. Who's barking? Who's barking at what? So we can add a little bit of complexity here and say, well, this dot name plus says bark. Oop, get rid of that. Let's try that. So now we'll have them actually differentiate. My dog dot bark. Sparky says bark. Your dog dot bark. Scott says bark. Cool. Okay. So we're starting to see some things here, some ways we can interact with the dog, ways we can change things about the dog's current situation. Another good concept to get into is there are some things, we name the dog, we know its breed and its weight up front. But there are also other internal things about the dog, like this .mood starts at 0. Sure. Okay. So the dog's mood is neutral to start. Could go negative, could go positive. When I feed the dog, maybe mood should go up, right? This .mood also plus equals, we'll just do 1, right? Mood plus plus. Oop. And in fact, you can put that plus plus right next to it. Okay, so let's consider that. Now every dog has a mood internal to it, and when I feed it, its mood will increase. So let's do that. Reload, and let's say my dog dot feed 1 pound of food. My dog dot mood is 1. Oh, cool. My dog dot feed 2 pounds of food. My dog's mood will only go up by 1 again, right? Because I've fed dot mood, right, to 2. That's how I programmed it, right? So I've fed my dog 2 times. Its mood has increased twice, but your dog dot mood is still 0, still neutral. Okay, so that's showing the idea of having sort of an internal counter that the dog hangs on to, right? It's really useful. You can now have the concept that the dog has a mood and it might use that information when it does other calculations, right? If I reach out to pet the dog and the mood is too low, maybe dog bites. Uh-oh. But if I pet the dog and the mood is high, I might make the dog's mood even better, right? Because petting is good for dog moods. Let's do pet. Let's make a new pet function. This .pet is a function. Let's do it. If this .mood is less than 0. Actually, we're not going to necessarily set the mood. Let's just, no branching. We'll just do this .mood plus plus, right? So now I can pet the dog with no bad recourse. And also, let's say the dog barks whenever it's pet. So this .bark, we can have it call another function, right? So now the pet function says, I'm going to pet the dog. It's going to increase its mood, and it will bark in the console every time. So my dog.mood, 0. My dog.pet, Sparky says bark. My dog.mood has gone up. Yay. We're gradually approaching a dog simulator. It's not, going to be good, but it works, right? So we've worked out a little bit about a sort of a functional approach to creating a dog object in just data, right? And you should see that this has a lot in common with the HTML objects, right? If I do my dog dot, well, shoot, we can see a list just like all the HTML objects, right? We have created something just like them. It's not as easily read and operated on at the DOM level, but it is still here. So let's draw a little bit of a line to connect these dog objects to the HTML world, right? Currently, it just lives directly in the data. But let's say I want to build an elements to display things about the dog. Well, I will copy this from our last demo. It's the add element function, and we'll get to see these sort of next to one another. So here's the deal. This is a normal function, right? This does normal function things. It does add element. It takes a type and a content. So it creates a new element object from the document.createElement of the right type. For instance, it'll create a paragraph or whatever you saw last time, right? Go back and check that if it's not clear. So then element.enter.html will get added whatever the content is, and then we will add to the body of the document where you add the child, this new element. Okay, all that to say, if I save this and I say reload and I go to my console, add element, paragraph, stuff, right? add element, h1 stuff, right? This is just a tool to help us add things to the web page. Reload to clear it off. Now our dog object, because this is defined, at the outside level, and because the dog is in the same file as this other function, it can use this function. So let's say we want something like this dot add to page, right? Equals new function. So we want to have something that will add the dog to the page, right? Let's do that. Let's say I want to have a header that says add element, h1, comma, my dog's name, this dot name, right? Sparky. Add element, we'll do a paragraph for each one of these lines, and then we'll do something like breed plus this dot dog breed. Get the capitalization right. Okay. Add element, paragraph, another paragraph, right? We're going to do its weight, right? We want to keep track of our doggy's weight, plus this dot weight, and add element, another paragraph. I mean, we could do like table information here too, but it's a little more complex to do. So we'll see its mood, right? This dot mood. Great. So what is this going to do? This should send, every time I call dog.add to page, it's going to get added to the actual web page, right? So let's do that. My dog.add to page. Do it. Oh, it blew up. I done something wrong. What did I do wrong? Let's find out. Add element is not defined. Oh, because I spelled it stupid. Element. There we go. Let's go back, reload, and I'm going to do my dog.add to page. Sparky. It's a terrier, weighs 18 pounds, and its mood is 0, neutral, right? Even let's have a little bit here. Plus LPS, right? Cool. We'll add a space. Reload. I'm going to add your dog. Add to page. Scott. Husky mix, 55 pounds, mood 0. Great. Now, if I want to, let's say I feed, or my dog.feed 2 pounds of food, and then my dog.pet, and then my dog.add to page. Cool. Great. My terrier is now 20 pounds. Happy terrier, name Sparky. Its mood is 2, +2, positive mood. Very good. That's great. Now, something to note is that if I now go and change my dog.pet, pet again, make the mood even better. Sparky's happy. My dog.mood is 3, but you notice that it's not visible on the page, right? And that's because this is a one-directional operation, right? This is not linked together. We are constructing the page like a static page out of this sort of dynamic information that we've been changing. What you would want ultimately is to get to a point where, say, if you're developing an app, where the information is live, it's updated on the fly with the internal information. Really tighten that interaction loop to be more app-like, right? More directly interactive. Something that we're still working towards, right? But yeah, so this is a goofy little example. It's just like making a dog. The dog has some variables that we define, but it also has some sort of consistent internal variables, right? That it keeps track of, its parameters, or its properties, rather. And then it has some methods. We can feed the dog can bark. Some of these methods can call each other. So when I feed this dog, it updates its internal mood, and it also barks, right? Now you can see how this might change stuff, right? If you might have the dog's bark function do different things depending on your mood of the dog, right? The idea being that you're doing a lot of work to flesh out the internal workings of this more abstract overall dog object. Because now we can see here, it's pretty easy to make a dog now. We don't have to come up with, some on-the-fly structure. It's defined for us. We know how to make dogs. So now I'll make var that dog. New dog. Dog over there on the street seeing. Don't know its name. We know it's a pit bull. And we know them's beefy, more or less. So now let's look. What happens with these dogs? My dog, Sparky Terrier. Your dog, Scott Husky Mix. That dog, don't know, pit bull. Let's add them to the page. Add to page. My dog your dog. Add to page. That dog add to page. Oops, we have sort of the empty header, but still it works. Pit bull, all this information. So yeah, I hope this is showing how this works together. You can now, one last little fun, ridiculous bit is that we can create an array of dogs, right? So var dog array equals an array with my dog, your dog, and that dog. Also, let's just add the word unknown to this dog. We'll put it in brackets. No. Come on, don't help me too much, program. Okay, we made a little array. The idea of this is, again, abstraction. We're trying to get things working together. So now the primary thing that contains all of our interesting, weird information about all these different pets is dog array. Let's go look. All this work we've done up until now is to get dog array collapsed. Dog array contains 3 dogs. It has Sparky, it has Scott, and it has an unknown dog. Awesome. So now we can do something like, let's do a for loop, right? What we did last time. For dog of dog array, dog.add to page. So now, right off the bat, we construct 3 different dogs. We plop them into an array, and then we iterate over that array to add them all to the page. Sparky, Scott, and unknown. There we go. So, when we meet that dog finally, we can change its name to whatever. Beef. So, that's the basics of working with objects. And again, this should just be exposing something that you've already been dealing with so much, right? The document dot stuff, right? Documents are just great big old objects. And if I go to dog array sub, the first one, or no, the 0th dog, that's my dog, right? Let's look at that dog, pop it open. Right? Let's do it again. Dog array 0, and then we'll do the dot. This is our old friend, right? So again, this is very similar in concept to document dot. Document has more stuff going on, but ultimately it's just a high-level concept of a lot of sub-functions and properties and stuff. So this is all towards the broad goal of trying to keep things conceptually useful and simple for the programmer, right? To keep track of all this information long ago, we would have had to do all kinds of silly stuff like first dog name equals Sparky. First dog, breed equals, what was he, a terrier, right? You'd have to store all that information. You'd have to make custom functions that would take all this information. But because we're working in objects, we're able to lump all this information together into a single spot and give it abilities that we know it should have, right? Whether they're pragmatic, like adding it to the page, or they're sort of like internal, like, update this dog's state. that kind of stuff. I mean, this is huge in, especially, it's easy to draw comparisons to like video games because all the different objects in the games have to keep track of things like what's their health, right? What's their current, your stamina or something, whatever dorky stuff. So that's the long and short, I think. This is us working with some simple objects, making them do some interesting stuff, and hope that clears things up. This is all in the service of trying to work towards single page apps to make better sense of how could you construct something that is a fully interactive tool rather than just a web page as we've seen it before. And you can do all that with JavaScript with lots of individual scripts that would change all these elements. Say I want a button for feed this dog, right? I would have to do a lot of jumping around to make sure, its weight goes up, its hunger and mood go, change and all that stuff, and it's then reflected on the page. Whereas in an app programming atmosphere environment, which is where we're heading, that stuff will be sort of automated. Even though it still is doing the same things in concept. Again, abstraction up. We're trying to get our thinking to a higher level than having to stay stuck down in the numerical weeds all the time. So, okay, that's it for now. Take care. I'll see you soon.